Jemima Puddle-Duck was upset because the farmer's wife took away her eggs and she gave them to the hen to hatch. Even though it takes 28 days of sitting on the nest to hatch duck eggs, Jemima wanted to hatch her own eggs. Jemima took to hiding her eggs, but they were always found and taken to the hen. Jemima Puddle-Duck decided to find a place far from the farm where she could hatch her eggs in peace. Jemima set off along a path that led up the hill. From the hilltop, she could see some woods in the distance. The woods looked like a safe, quiet place for her to build a nest. Jemima Puddle-Duck ran down the side of the hill to get a good start. When she was moving quickly enough, she jumped into the air and flew away beautifully. She skimmed just over the treetops until she saw a clearing in the middle of the woods. Jemima landed in the clearing and began to search for a dry nesting place. She thought a tree stump among the tall foxgloves might be nice. However, she was startled to find an elegantly dressed gentleman seated on the very stump she had in mind. He was reading a newspaper. "Quack," said Jemima to the man with the newspaper. Then the pointy-eared gentleman looked at Jemima. "Madam, have you lost your way?" he asked politely. Jemima Puddle-Duck found him handsome and well-mannered. She explained that she was trying to find a suitable nesting place. "Indeed," said the gentleman. "I have a mound of soft feathers in my woodshed. You may nest there as long as you like." The foxy gentleman led the way to a shabby house that was built of sticks. At the back of the house, he opened the door to the tumble-down woodshed and showed Jemima in. Although Jemima was very surprised to find so many feathers in the woodshed, she made a nice nest for herself without any trouble. When Jemima came out of the woodshed to go back to the farm for the night, the whiskered gentleman swore he would take good care of the nest until she came back the next day. Jemima returned to the woodshed every afternoon. She laid 9 eggs in the nest, which the bushy-tailed gentleman admired very much. Jemima told the gentleman that she would now begin sitting on her eggs. He thoughtfully suggested that they celebrate first with a nice dinner. He asked Jemima to bring herbs and onions from the farm garden so he could make a delicious omelette. Poor Jemima was not even a bit suspicious. She waddled around the garden gathering snippets of herbs the gentleman had asked for, which are used for stuffing roast duck. Then she went into the kitchen to get onions. Waddling out of the kitchen that afternoon, Jemima met Kep. The collie asked where she had been every day. So Jemima told him the whole story about the helpful gentleman with the bushy tail. The wise collie asked where the woodshed was. Then he trotted off to find some of his friends. Meanwhile, Jemima Puddle-Duck carried the bag of herbs and onions up the hill. Then she flew over the woods and landed right in front of the foxy gentleman. This time the gentleman was not polite to Jemima Puddle-Duck. He rudely told her to hand over the herbs and be quick about checking her eggs. This made Jemima feel surprised and most unhappy. While Jemima was waiting inside the woodshed, she was frightened even more by the sounds of the pattering feet out in the back. Then she saw a black nose sniff at the bottom of the door, and she heard the sound of the woodshed door being locked. A moment later, there were the most awful noises: barks, growls, howls, squeals, and groans. And from that day on, nothing more was ever seen of the foxy whiskered gentleman. Then Kep unlocked the door of the gentleman's woodshed to let out Jemima Puddle-Duck. He had a bite on one of his ears, and both his friends were limping. The three dogs soothed Jemima and helped her to carry her 9 eggs back to the farm. The farmer's wife let Jemima Puddle-Duck sit on her eggs for all 28 days. Even though they were carried all that way through the woods and over the hill back to the farm, the eggs hatched into beautiful ducklings. Jemima was very proud. Thank you for watching the Yellow Chair Classroom, and please do share and like and subscribe it if you like my video.